Welcome to SOS Media, your number one source of the latest news, opinions, and in-depth investigations that dig deeper into today's developing stories around the globe. In the year 2022, R. Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in prison in a New York federal courthouse in Brooklyn by Judge Ann Donnelly on alleged racketeering, sex exploitation, bribery, kidnapping, forced labor, and violations of the Mann Act charges. R. Kelly supporters and enthusiasts were not happy with the judgment. This was a harsh sentence based on so many unclear allegations, and many of Kelly's supporters, like fellow artist Bruce Baddas, hypothetically equated it to an unfortunate life sentence for him. During this trial, it's the racketeering charge that took center stage, especially when prosecutors alleged that during the successful 30-year music career R. Kelly enjoyed, he at the same time operated a criminal enterprise aimed at exploiting young women. The Assistant U.S. Attorney, Maria Cruz Melendez, during her opening submission alleged that R. Kelly wasn't operating the enterprise alone but rather with other members of his inner circle. We are aware that both international law and U.S. domestic law provides for criminal liability for involvement in a criminal enterprise, implying that merely being a member in such a group is sufficient to warrant prosecution without additional evidence that a particular individual committed any other crime. It's also clear that domestically, participation in racketeering activity is penalized under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO. It's thus quite very difficult to comprehend the fact that R. Kelly's associates, especially Daryl McDavid, who was his former business manager, and Milton June Brown, a senior assistant, were also not indicted in New York even after their names featured several times in the witnesses' submissions. Any sane person can never stop wondering as to why R. Kelly stood trial and was charged alone, given the fact that he headed a criminal enterprise. We thus find it difficult not to believe that this was a witch hunt just targeting R. Kelly as an individual and no one else. What further raises our eyebrows is the fact that the two federal charges in Brooklyn, New York and in Chicago were not combined. This is a rare scenario, but it was unfortunately seen as the preferred choice when it came to trying R. Kelly. To date, no one from the federal government has tried to give this an explanation. It is also equally unusual to hear of a racketeering case where the organizing members were left out of the trial process. But this again surprisingly happened to R. Kelly. Easy to note is the fact that had Chicago dropped the second case against R. Kelly, it would mean that McDavid and June Brown would have never entered any courtroom. These suspected enablers of the alleged accusations and coordinators of the alleged enterprise were acquitted of all charges. I also strongly believe that the government has had noticeable loopholes in handling R. Kelly's allegations. Some of the witnesses should be investigated and charged for telling lies about him. It is also obvious that some parents of the alleged victims willingly provided a leeway for their daughters to reach R. Kelly and on most occasions lied about their ages. All they were targeting was R. Kelly's money and nothing more. Enterprise or not, I still have the belief that R. Kelly will win his appeals and be freed from serving sentences he doesn't deserve. All people in their normal thinking capacities will find it very difficult to comprehend the fact that federal prosecutors in the U.S. District Court in Chicago asked a judge to give the king of R&B, R. Kelly, an additional 25 years in jail for his convictions in Chicago. What remains even more perplexing is the fact that the government prosecutors were requesting the judge to give R. Kelly an extra 25-year sentence after he fully completes the 30 years he was sentenced to in the New York case. R. Kelly's lead lawyer Jennifer Bonjean had otherwise requested that the sentence be less than 10 years and be served simultaneously with that of Eastern District of New York. If what the prosecutors were calling for had been honored, then it will have been more of a life sentence for R. Kelly than anything else. On its own, it would be crazy for the judges to accept these ill-hearted requests. I don't think that R. Kelly would ever deserve celebrating his 100th birthday in prison. The government prosecutors then claimed that R. Kelly posed a threat to society, and thus needed a sentence that would retain him behind bars for life to make sure he doesn't reoffend were completely unfounded. R. Kelly's lead lawyer Jennifer Bonjean earlier referred to statistical data showing that the average life expectancy of an inmate in a U.S. prison is 64 years. And so R. Kelly is expected has to beat all these statistical odds in order to leave prison alive. It nevertheless would have been absolutely not logical to compound all this with consecutive year additions. R. Kelly, who is black, deserves a lesser sentence than proposed by the prosecutors, Bonjean reasoned. R. Kelly has been singled out for behavior similar to what white star music artists have on several occasions gotten away with. None have been prosecuted and none will die in prison, she wrote. What is even more tantalizing and probably a substantial sign of injustice is that the prosecutors for sure knew that 25 years are even more than what the sentencing guiding principles recommend. We were all anxiously waiting for the U.S. Judge Harry Leinenweber's crucial decision on whether R. Kelly serves the sentence concurrently with the 30-year New York sentence or whether he will unfortunately decide they run consecutively. It was all up to Judge Harry Leinenweber in Chicago to decide on the crucial question of whether R. Kelly served whatever sentence he imposed, simultaneously or consecutively with the New York sentence. I however still pray that R. Kelly's legal squad appealing his New York and Chicago convictions succeed in overturning them. We need R. Kelly out of jail sooner than later. As a point to note, there are more innocent people in our jails and prisons today than ever before. The rate of exonerations continues to rise, revealing an unreliable system of criminal justice. A lack of accountability for police and prosecutors, reliance on junk science or mistaken eyewitnesses, and the indigent defense crisis are major contributors to wrongful convictions that have undermined the credibility of our system and ruined the lives of innocent men and women. A conviction may be classified as wrongful when a person convicted is factually innocent of the charges or if there were procedural errors that violated the convicted person's rights. More than half of wrongful convictions can be traced to witnesses who lied in court or made false accusations. In 2018, a record number of exonerations involved misconduct by government officials. The strength of our criminal justice system depends on its accuracy and its ability to convict the guilty and to clear the innocent. But we know that wrongful convictions happen, but identifying and understanding the causes is critical to maintaining the integrity of our justice system. As we continue to witness new developments occurring towards R. Kelly's appeal proceedings, we can just stay optimistic that this time around, the relevant truth will be put into consideration. This is the ray of hope that makes us keep our breath and hold. We believe R. Kelly and his legal team will be able to outline all the injustices, misinterpretations of the law, cases of lying and witness tampering that have marred all R. Kelly's legal proceedings, and that the law, truth and justice will this time along prevail. It has been a long wait and we can't wait any longer to see R. Kelly regain his deserved freedom. Thank you for watching today's video brought to you by SOS Media. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our videos. Also remember to leave your comment about today's topic in the comment section below.